Friends, at this time we are going to begin the funeral services for Arline Sands. If you have a cell phone or a pager, I would ask and encourage you to turn it off or at least place it in the silent mode, but we'd prefer you to turn it off so it doesn't disrupt the service. And officiating today's services will be Rabbi Deborah Newman-Kamen. I told you it happened.
I was about to turn it off.
All right, we'll give you a sec.
Yes.
This time of loss, we turn to our tradition. I will read Psalm 23. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai ro'i lo eksar, benodesha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yanachaleni nafshi yesovev, yanchenu b'malei tzedek l'man shemo, gam ki alech b'geit zal mavet lo irara ki ata imadi, shivtecha u'mishantecha chema yanachamuni, ta'aroch livnei shulchan neged srarai, deshanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya, ach tov v'chesed yirtafuni kol yemei chayai, v'shafti b'veit Adonai l'orach yamim. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God has me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters, and guides me on paths of righteousness. God revives my soul for the sake of glory. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod do comfort me. You set a table in sight of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall abide in the house of God forever. Adonai ma'on ata hayita lanu b'dor v'dor, b'terem harim yoladu v'techolel eretz v'tevel, u'me'olam ad olam ata el. O God, you have been our refuge from generation to generation. Before the mountains were born, before the earth was fashioned, from eternity to eternity, you are everlastingly God. Yet, humans, you crumble to dust. You say, return, O mortals. 1,000 years are in your sight as a passing day and an hour of night. 70 our years may number, 80 years if granted the vigor. Laden with trouble and travail, life quickly passes and flies away. Teach us, therefore, to number our days, so that we may attain a heart of wisdom, match days of sorrow with days of joy, equal to the years we have suffered. Then your servants will see your power, and their children will know your glory. We've come today in tribute to Arline Rose Schiff Sands. She was born in 1934 and was an only child until the age of 18 when her sister Irene was born. Arline faced a lot of challenges early in life. Her father, David, died when she was only 4 years old. And her whole life, she talked about how much she had missed knowing her family. She also lost an uncle, her mother's brother, Harry, who also died young. She lived with her mother and her grandparents. Her mother, of course, as a single mother, had to go back to work, and so Arline was really raised by her grandmother. For a brief time, Arline went to the University of Illinois, and then she met her husband, Maury, at a friend's wedding, and they married in 1954. Arline and Maury were married for 29 years, but even after they divorced, they stayed friends. They both had wanted a lot of children, which was good, since they had 5, and she had told Irene, she had said, I wanted to start a dynasty. Arlene's Jewish identity was very important to her. She wanted to perpetuate Judaism in the next generations and always made sure that they got together to celebrate Hanukkah, and this was something that was very important to her. She spoke Yiddish, as that's what she learned in her grandparents' home, and liked to interject it into her conversations for the rest of her life. Arline was very successful professionally. When we were growing up, her daughters told me, our mom worked part-time in some capacity. For example, she sold china in even mausoleums and crypts. When she was in high school, Arline worked in property management, eventually becoming a director with multiple properties across various states. And of course, she was an avid bridge player, earning her the rank of Life Master. She volunteered at Aunt Martha's, which was a Planned Parenthood. She loved the theater and the symphony. She enjoyed attending the symphony, and she was a Chicago Symphony Orchestra docent and with the Chicago Public Schools after she retired. She loved the water, she loved the beach, and regularly went to the gym to swim. Arline did suffer for many years from chronic pain caused by scoliosis and spinal stenosis, and of course, the last several years suffered from dementia. But who was Arline? Her family wrote, she was very determined. She loved to write and was always writing her thoughts. She loved the beach and often took her children and then grandchildren. She loved to travel across the country and the world. She had a green thumb, and her plants were always beautiful and healthy. In their home in Olympia Fields, her flowers were gorgeous. Arline was an excellent piano player and instilled her love of music to all of her children. She was intelligent, worldly, and self-educated. She was resourceful in managing the household budget for a family of 7 and a dog. And she was always interested in her children's work and frequently liked to brainstorm to help them solve work challenges. Arline was classically beautiful and had a wonderful sense of style. She never went anywhere without lipstick. She was a mother to the late Carolyn and to her children, Robert, Linda, Michael, and Kathy, a mother-in-law, a grandmother to Taylor, Paige, Anna, Nicole, and Eric. She was a sister to Irene. She was a grandma, an aunt, a cousin, and a wife times 2. We are grateful this morning that we have many family members and friends that wanted to share their memories of Arline, and they have been condensed, and they will be shared this morning by 2 members of the family. Nicole and Taylor.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Taylor and I have the honor of sharing some special memories from various members of the family who have sent them over the last couple of days. So I will start with just some general memories of Arline that we received, and then we'll get into some of the more specific memories from individuals. So, of Grandma. So memories of my Grandma Arline. She was beautiful. One of the favorite memories of my Aunt Linda and my mom are an annual holiday lunch that they did every year. They're very diligent. Every December, they made sure to get together for their holiday lunch. Memories of the children watching their parents swing dance, taking them to chalet on the lake. Special occasions when the whole family would dress up and go to dinner at the House of Hughes. And wiggling both of her ears at the same time. She liked to impress groups of people, and as soon as us children found out she could do that, we loved making her do that on demand. And then most well known for always wearing lipstick, so I hope everyone has lipstick on today. We have some memories from my Uncle Bob, Grandma's son. He is currently in Australia. One of his memories he would like to share with the group is that when we were kids, our mom would play the piano, and every now and then they could convince her to play Boogie Woogie in the style of mini riffs. When they did that, when the kids were able to be around, they loved to hear it. They danced quite less skillfully than their parents did, except for him. He would like to point out that he was the only skilled one of the 5 when she played that music. He said it was quite fun, and it was a very positive memory for all 5 of them.
Good morning. My name is Taylor. I'm Michael's daughter. My apologies if I talk too fast. Just, bear with me. So I'm going to start today with some memories from my dad, Michael. After, everything happened on Monday, we were sitting around, having some lasagna, and we were talking about Grandma. So my dad was talking about how his favorite memory was when the bridge ladies would come over and, the preparations for that and then kind of how it went. And Dad really liked it because they would get to take candy and like sweets and like, have some treats from all the treats that would come over. But the thing that stood out to him that he brought up on Monday was that the house always smelled like cigarettes and perfume afterwards, like that very distinctive, and that they would be playing like all night, so they would be laughing just to the wee hours of the morning. So that was a really nice memory for my dad. Another thing that was really nice that we talked about was my father and my grandma used to have weekly breakfast for a few years when we all lived very nearby, and they would go to the Golden Nugget. And those who know Arline, she was very specific about her order. But they always had some great conversation, and it was, really important. So my sister Anna was talking about Grandma's condo. It had that amazing view over the lake, and she had those binoculars that she would just keep on the ledge, and you could just look out. And when you're a little kid, you kind of feel like you're going to fall out of the window, and we would just put our heads up to it just to see, and then Grandma would be like, "Okay, that's enough," But it was really nice because you could see everything. She also used to do this thing when we would sleep over. So we would have these city dates, the Sands girls, where she would have us come out for a weekend or a night. And one memory that sticks out to me is she would always take me to see either a play, or we used to go see at this Evanston movie theater, like live performances from the Met. But the one that sticks out the most is we went to see this play that Grandma found, and we're already sitting down and we realize there's no intermission and it's 3 hours, and it was the weirdest thing we ever sat through. And afterwards, Grandma, she had an opinion, but she was also like, yeah, but this is part of the fun of going to see shows, is that sometimes you get stuck during this. And the whole time we're like elbowing each other like, oh my God, is this happening? It was a very strange show. But so when we would sleep over, my sister Anna would talk about how Grandma used to make us eat grapefruit. Yeah, she very much wanted us to eat healthy. Another memory from Anna is that Grandma started a state collection, or a state coin collection for each of us. So that was pretty cool. She always had really fun games at her apartment. And just the last thing I want to share is she taught me how to play dominoes very competitively. I have since brought that to my fiance and his family, and we now play very competitively. But we have to play very specifically to Arlene's rules, which are rules that no one else has ever heard of. So, I just say, yeah, well, Arlene's rules. But I'm going to hand it over to Nicole. Thank you.
Hi again. I'm going to share some of my own memories next. I could always count on Grandma for an adventure. We'd take field trips downtown, and a couple of my most specific ones that I remember, we also went to Evanston. She must have liked Evanston. We went to the movie theater, but she also took me to Taste of Chicago, which I wouldn't generally put in her realm of interest, but I still, to this day, every time I see Taste of Chicago, remember that's what I did with my grandma, and keep a love of festival food to this day that I'm sure she did not share. But driving around with her was always slightly terrifying. So fortunately, there was a myriad of activities we could also do at her condo together. I just remember her attempting to teach me bridge, which I don't think I ever grasped, to be honest. Crossword puzzles I also did not grasp. Visiting her friend Finny, visiting her pool. There was always an assortment of trinkets to entertain me. There was a bathroom phone, and I never understood why we had a phone in the bathroom. Never got an answer on that one. And I remember this yellow powder that was always there, and I never knew the purpose, but it smelled so good. So just many, many good memories in that condo with her. And of course, we heard from Rabbi, the weaving of Yiddish into conversations. The only Yiddish I know to this day is from Grandma, most notably Shana Madela. But yes, she loves pulling those phrases in, and just very good memories with her. Next, I'll share some memories from her grandson, Eric. He says, some of my earliest memories were with Grandma in the city of Chicago. She really showed us the city. She took him to many museums, parks, and festivals. They would walk the beach together from her apartment, crossing under Lakeshore Drive to get there. She always left her binoculars by the window so we could look out. He would use them to watch cars and people from her apartment often. There was always plenty to watch from her apartment view. He enjoyed hearing her play the piano, and he remembered practicing with her for a duet when he was in junior high. He played the saxophone, and she had accompanied him with the piano. She was the first person to notice that he struggled keeping time, so she gave him a metronome, and he still can't keep time. And he always enjoyed hearing her talk about bridge games and the chemistry she did or did not have with her partner at the time. Then some final memories from.
All right, folks. Our final memories today come from my grandma's nephew, Arlene's nephew, Paul Spivak. So his memories of his Aunt Arlene were always warm and loving. Most notably, what he remembers is the stare. If something was really nutsy, rather than make a comment, she would display the stare like, "You gotta be kidding me." It always made him smile.
Thank you.
Our God and God of our ancestors, our rock and our redeemer, 1,000 years in your sight are as a passing day, an hour of night. Our generations come and go while you endure forever. O merciful God, strengthen those who mourn. Help them to look beyond this moment. Help them to realize that death cannot destroy the bonds of your everlasting love. Sustain them with the knowledge of our faith. O Lord, you have been our rock and our redeemer. And let us say, Amen. I ask you to please now rise for the El Malay Rachamim. El Malay Rachamim, Shochein B'miromim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Takat Confess Shina, Ba'alot Kiddushim Utarim Kazoher Rakim Isirim, Et Nishmat Rezel Bat David, Shelcha La'olama. Began Ein Dehei Menuchata, Ana Baal Harachamim, Heseter Seter Kenafecha La'olamim, Utzor B'tzor Chaim Et Nishmata, Adonai hu nachlata v'tanuch b'shalom al-mishkava v'nomar Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Razel bat David, who is gone to her eternal home. God of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that she performed in the land of the living. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. God is her portion. May she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. You may be seated.
Friends, this concludes the services here at the chapel. The interment and burial services will continue at Waldheim Cemetery in Forest Park. And for those of you traveling with us to the cemetery and the funeral procession, please do keep the following safety precautions in mind. Please make sure that your bright headlights and your four-way hazard flashers are on. Please be sure to obtain an orange funeral safety sticker for your windshield, and we will be providing several of the cars in the procession with a magnetic orange flag to be placed on top of your car. Please travel as close as safety permits to the car in front of you to avoid any gaps. For your own safety and security, I would suggest not speaking or texting while driving to the cemetery and the funeral procession. We will be traveling on the, I believe, on the tollway, so that's how we'll be getting from here to the cemetery. The family will be sitting Shiva at the Sands Van Kirk residence at 28W661 Trillium Drive in Winfield. And they'll be together today following the interment until 9 p.m. And then tomorrow at the Bennett residence from 11 until 4 p.m. And that's at 5327 Arcadia Street in Skokie. The family has also requested that any memorial contributions in Arlene's memory be made to the Jewish United Fund. All of that information and the information about Shiv is available in the service folder that you should have received when you came in today. And if you did not receive one, we do have those for you as you leave. And for those of you joining us online, that information is also available on our website. The following individuals have been asked to serve as pallbearers: Eric Puccini, Paul Puccini, Grant Van Kirk, Paul Bennett, Joel Bennett, and Ross Bennett. At this time, I would ask for everyone to please rise and stand in place for the pallbearers to come forward to my left as we escort the casket, the rabbi, and the family from the chapel. you, and you may return.